For the game against the Chicago Bears, only one simple term could be used to describe how the game was. Absolutely crazy. We're going to talk about it in today's episode, folks, so hold on to your hats. It's about to get wild. It started with an owner who had a last name fans despised, hiring a coach that the experts thought was crazy.
But I got a plan, I swear to you.
Who traded for a QB that was said to be washed up. They said the Detroit Lions would never amount to anything, that it would always be the same old Lions. But this team, our team, has a new identity, defined and expressed by the crazy head coach.
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes, I will beat your ass.
Led by the QB that nobody thought was good. Motor City Mania is in full swing and ready to start. So join the show and be prepared for kneecap biting, because Motor City Mania starts right now. Hello everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and we're diving in right now. As always, to those that are coming back to the show, I just want to say thank you all for coming back. Thank you all for your view, your support, your patronage. Thank you all for everything that you do. And for those that are tuning into my show for the very first time, I just want to say thank you all for giving my show a shot. Thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. And I just want to say to everybody out there, God bless. Hope you all enjoy the show. And let's dive in here. So I'm just going to be honest with y'all, folks. The game yesterday, there's just no other way you can put this. That game was probably one of the wildest games I have ever seen in the near 30 years I've lived on this planet, in the near 24 years I've been watching professional football. Because to me, it's just like, dude, that game was just absolutely all over the freaking place. And I'm not talking about for like both teams. I'm talking about just for the Lions. That was a game where I don't know how, I don't know why, and I don't know who decided to give us a break, but the Lions won a game that they absolutely should not, under any normal circumstances, have won. That was a game that we did not deserve to win, that we were dead to rights to lose, and yet somehow, by a grace of a miracle, we were able to pull a rabbit out of a hat and say, oh, this is how you can win a game in the NFL. And I was just like, I don't know how we did it, but I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth, so I'm going to talk about it here, but this is going to be probably one of the more peculiar episodes I've done. So let's get some background information here first. When we think about this game yesterday, I and a lot of other Lions fans probably looked at this game and were like, listen, we're going to win this game and we should win this game running away with it. I mean, for crying out loud, before the game even started, we were 7.5-point favorites. I mean, the Lions should have easily throttled the ever-living hell out of the Bears. The Bears, as I said in a previous episode, they had the worst team, they had the worst record, there was nothing about their team that comparatively on paper, statistically, or any other fathomable like comparative analysis matched up. And yet, despite the fact of being 7.5 favorites, we still were able to win by 5. But I'm going to tell you this right now, despite what the freaking final score says, that game was a lot closer than what the score indicated. And if anybody watched the game, again, like I said, there's no way in feasible hell that we should have won that game. So I'm just going to put this out there. The Bears, usually, when I think of the Bears and how they normally play, that is not a typical normal Bears-like performance. I don't know if it was the fact that Justin Fields came back, if Justin Fields had ate his Wheaties that morning. I don't know what the hell it was, but the Bears actually showed up, and they actually looked like a really good football team. Because I'll be honest here, nobody really gave the Bears much of a shot to win that game. Lions fans sure as hell didn't give them much of a shot. Most of the NFL analysts and the beat writers and the talk show hosts didn't give them much of a shot. But I'm going to be honest with you, the Bears must have missed the memo, because they came to play. You have to think about this. Think about how well the Bears actually played yesterday. Like I've said, they deserved to win that game by how well they played for the majority of it. But somehow we came away with the win. But think about this. The Bears led that game for the entire first quarter. We didn't score a single point in the first quarter. That in and of itself is an oddity for this Detroit Lions offense, which has been extremely high-powered, extremely explosive, and very easy on scoring points. So that's number one. But also number two, you have to think about this here. The Lions were down by 12 with literally about 4.5, almost 5 minutes left in the game. The Bears were almost up by double digits, like 14 points. So I'm talking like 2 full scoring drives. Technically, they were up by 2 full scoring drives because 7 points plus 3, that's 2 scoring drives. But the whole point of the matter is they were up by almost 2 touchdowns with 4 to 5 minutes left in the game. That's not normally something that most teams come back from unless you really know how to manage your time. Then you think about this. The Bears also garnered 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions, and 1 fumble. When you typically get that many turnovers in a game, you're going to win the game because you've clearly won the turnover battle. You've clearly taken the ball away from the opposing team, which means, in theory, you should be able to garner points off of that to bury the opposing team. The Bears got the turnovers. They just didn't really get a whole lot of points off of them. And then finally, this right here completely blew my mind. Not only did the Bears outdo us in terms of the turnover battle, they outdid the Lions by double in terms of time of possession. I had to literally look at this twice to believe it. The Bears had the ball for a total of 40 minutes and 24 seconds to the Lions only 19 minutes and 36 seconds. So somehow, some way, in some absolutely crazy, ridiculous universe, the Lions were outdone in terms of how many turnovers they gave up. They were outdone by a 2-to-1 ratio in terms of time of possession, and yet the Lions still put up 31 points and beat the Bears. That just does not normally happen. Like I said, absolutely crazy, absolutely unbelievable. I'm absolutely just beside myself to figure out how in the hell we won that game. By all freaking logical reasoning, we should not have won that game. I'm going to be straight honest. I'm a Lions fan till the day I die, but I'm like, dude, the Bears should have won that game, just based off of all logical reasoning. But let's actually start taking a look at this. If you think about it, the Lions, how do I put this? Let's talk about the Lions offense first. The Lions offense, for the most part from that game, was pretty much the best way I could describe it was a sputtering or a backfiring engine because it would start and stop. It would be hot and cold. Like, it really struggled to find a rhythm for the majority of the game. Like, it really didn't kind of warm up and actually find a rhythm until like the last 4 minutes of the game. And I want to say this right now because I already know somebody's going to try to blame this one on Jared Goff. But let's be fair and honest here. Jared Goff, yeah, he had a bad game. A really bad game. That was probably one of the worst games Jared Goff has had as a Detroit Lions quarterback. I mean, when you throw 3 interceptions, you're having a bad day at the office. You are having a really, really bad day. But again, we have to keep things in context here and just take a look at those interceptions for what they were. First and foremost, 2 of those 3 interceptions were not on Jared Goff. And I know somebody's going to try and say it was, but let's be fair and honest here. One of those interceptions, freaking Sam Laporta ran into the defensive back. That should have been at least called as defensive interference, some sort of defensive penalty, because that's not supposed to happen. That's supposed to be a PI call of some sort. And even still, Laporta running into the defensive back, Jared Goff has no control over that. It's a timing route. Jared Goff is going based off of timing. He's not necessarily looking all that well to see, okay, if somebody's there or not. It's like a quick pre-read, you see what you see, and you throw the ball, which is exactly what Jared Goff did. The guy Sam Laporta just ran to the defensive back. You can't control that. So that was one interception that was not Goff's fault. The second one was a tip pass in the line. Again, Goff can't control that. And I'll be honest, the guy that got the freaking that got the tip pass, he had to do it with his opposite arm and reach over Frank Ragnow's head. That's just a purely great talent. That's just a purely great play by the defensive player to tip the pass. So again, Goff can't control that. Now, I will say this. The one where Goff threw right over the middle, and I think it went to either Edwards or Edmonds, I don't remember his name right off the top of my head. That was a horrible interception. Goff was trying to fit the ball into a tight space. Absolutely bad decision. Absolutely horrible. And Goff himself acknowledged it after the game. He actually took ownership for all 3 of them. But he actually said on that one in particular, he just didn't see him over the middle. That is a no bueno. You have to see that guy. That guy is literally the middle linebacker. You should know where he is at all times. So that one is the one where I absolutely have no excuse for Goff. There's nothing you can say. That was just a really bad read, a really bad throw, a really bad decision by Jared Goff. But again, the thing about Jared Goff's performance, even though it was probably the worst game he's had as a quarterback for the Detroit Lions, the thing about it is, as far as I'm concerned, the actual statistical line of it is bad. I mean, Jared Goff had 23 completions for 35 attempts for 236 yards, a 65, almost 66 completion percentage rate, 2 touchdowns to 3 interceptions with almost a 70 passer rating, and that's just not good. That's just not good. That is a bad, bad day. But the one thing that Jared Goff did do that kind of salvaged the day a little bit was that at the very end, when the Lions absolutely needed him to play his best football, in crunch time, we've got to have these plays, you've got to drive us down the field, you've got to get these scores, that's exactly what Jared Goff did. He did it at the end of the first half. He did it at the end of the second half. So Jared Goff, when the Lions needed him, despite not having a really good day, was able to step up, maintain his composure, maintain his leadership, and make sure that the Lions were able to win a game that they should not have won that was a really, really ugly, bad win. But we'll get to that a little bit more later. But overall, the rest of the offense I thought did pretty well. David Montgomery looked really, really good in that game. Absolutely was, in my opinion, one of the better players on the offense. Amon-Ra St. Brown did what he does. Jahmyr Gibbs was absolutely spectacular. J-Mo looked good, getting 2 really big catches, one of which was for a touchdown. So for me, I really like the fact that even though the offense overall as a unit was kind of a sputtering offense, when the team absolutely needed that offense to work, it absolutely came together and it did work. Whether it was St. Brown making catches, J-Mo making catches, freaking Jahmyr Gibbs making runs, David Montgomery making runs, Goff extending the pocket, being cool under pressure towards the end of the game, they were able to get it done. And for me, that is the true mark of a really, really good team. And again, we'll talk about that here towards the end. But again, I just like the fact that even though it was not the Lions' best day, they still found a way to make it work. Now, that's the offense. The defense, I'm going to say this right now. I know somebody's expecting me to chew the ever-living thunder out of Aaron Glenn, but I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to do that bad this time. Because I'm going to actually give the defense some really big credit here because we have to understand something about what happened in this game. First and foremost, like I said earlier, the time of possession disparity, the fact that the Bears had the ball for 40 minutes and we were still able to win that game, that tells me 2 things right off the bat. Number 1, the defense was probably gassed to all hell. That means that they were out on the field 40 minutes to the freaking offense only being out there for literally only about 20 minutes. That defense, despite playing double the period of time, was able to stand tall, make plays when it absolutely had to towards the end, like getting that strip sack safety by Aiden Hutchinson, getting that 3 and out towards the end so that way the Lions could get the ball back and score that game-winning touchdown. That's big by this defense. That was them stepping up, making plays when they had to secure that win. So I absolutely have to give them credit for that. Number 2, I'm sorry, but when the offense gives up 3 turnovers on interceptions and then the special teams gives up a turnover via a fumble on a kickoff return, that's putting your defense in a really bad spot, which again, further exacerbates what I was talking about with the time of possession. So again, the fact that the defense, despite those 4 turnovers, was able to hold their ground, and if I recall correctly, they only gave up 10 points off those turnovers, which was 1 touchdown and 1 field goal. Again, despite the fact of them being in a really bad spot and having to play the majority of the game, they still stood tall, they still did their job. So again, very good job by that defense. Again, they weren't perfect throughout the day, but they did very well considering the circumstances. And for me, I'm just very, very ecstatic at what this defense was able to do. Again, you get a safety at the end of the game to completely close it out. You get a 3 and out that gives the Lions offense a chance to respawn, get another touchdown. And you get a fumble earlier in the game so that way, again, you can give your offense a chance to gain momentum. This is what I want the defense to do. Even when it's not a really good day for the defense or a really good day for the offense, they're able to pull out stuff and actually get the game into a position to where you can win. Again, this was by no means a pretty win by any side of the ball, neither the defense nor the offense. The defense definitely bailed out the offense in this game, kind of the opposite of when the freaking offense bailed out the defense against the Chargers last week. But again, the point of the matter is that despite how bad this game was overall for both sides of the ball, they were able to come together when they really needed to at the end and make it work. And so again, that's where I'm getting the most out of this. It was absolutely crazy how we got to all that, because I'll be honest, by about the midpoint of the third quarter, I was like, yep, we're going to get a loss here. There ain't no way we are pulling this one out of our you-know-whats. So again, I like that about the defense, but I will say this. The one thing about the defense that absolutely bugged me to no end, that still is a problem with me with Aaron Glenn, is he still has not shown any idea about how to slow down mobile quarterbacks. Anytime we play mobile quarterbacks, it seems like these guys are just tearing us to shreds, whether it's on the ground, whether it's through the air, or hell, maybe even sometimes both. Because think about it, Justin Fields had not played for 4 freaking weeks. He hadn't played in a month. And when he came into the game, he still had a freaking wrap on his throwing thumb. So it's like, okay, he hasn't played in 4 weeks. His thumb obviously is not yet at 100%. But yet, what does Justin Fields go out and do? He has a 100-plus passer rating game. And on top of that, he runs for 104 yards on the ground, almost 6 a pop a carry. I'm sorry, for a guy that hasn't played in a month, you made him look like freaking Superman. That is not good. This should have been a game that Justin Fields was kind of feeling himself back into, not just kind of blowing up everything and coming back onto the scene. So for me, I think that, again, Aaron Glenn needs to really take a long, hard look in the mirror and be like, okay, what do I have to do to freaking stop these mobile quarterbacks? Do I need to spy? Do I need to bring more pressure and blitz? Because we saw towards the end when Aaron Glenn started really dialing up the pressure, they actually were getting after him, and he was starting to be a little bit more disrupted in terms of his passing, his reads, his runs, whatever else. So for me, Aaron Glenn has got to do something to really get after these mobile quarterbacks, to get them uncomfortable, to get them off the rhythm, because what he's been doing up to this point, it's just simply not worked. And again, like I said before, I'll say it again. Aaron Glenn can say all that he wants, that we have a pretty damn good defense, but I'm sorry, from what I've seen, we're still a mid defense. We're a mid to slightly above average defense. That's about it. But again, I still will not completely dog Aaron Glenn. I'm not going to completely dog this defense. There were really good individual efforts, and the defense stepped up when we needed to. Guys like Alex Anzalone, who made tons of tackles, was great in coverage, absolutely deserves to be commended. Aiden Hutchinson played his absolute best play for last, where he got that strip sack safety, and then absolutely showed that he can also be a punter in a pinch. Brian Branch, oh my lord, this guy keeps continuing to impress me, and he's a tackle for loss machine. That one play where he came off the freaking left-hand side of the formation of the offense and tackled that running back for like 6 yards behind the line, that is just pure, absolute mastery of the position, and he's only a rookie, and I'm so immensely impressed at what he's already doing. And then you take a look at some other guys like Cameron Sutton and Aleem McNeil. Aleem McNeil, the freaking dancing bear, Twinkle Toes, has continued to show that he can be an inside pass rushing threat and can also be a run stuffer. So again, very impressed with him. And Cameron Sutton getting that forced fumble shows his toughness. Again, exemplifies that gritty nature of how tough and physical this team is and is not going to bow down to anybody. So for me, there are really some good guys on both sides of the ball, but I wanted to make sure I gave some credit to the defense because I have been razzing on them quite a bit over the last couple of weeks. Now, to finally point this last bit out here. Yes, the Lions did win. Yes, it was not a pretty win. It was... The best way I can describe it is this would be kind of like the Medusa or the freaking Quasimodo of wins. This was just downright ugly. This was grotesque. This is not the way you want to win football games. This is definitely not the way you want to win football games over a long period of time. But what this game particularly showed me is that the Lions don't have to play perfect football, mistake-free football any longer in order to just win. Because again, Dan Campbell used to say, we can't win games where we give up multiple turnovers, where we don't play on top of our games. This was a perfect example of how that's no longer the case. Because think about it. The definition or the mark of a good to great team is when, one, you're not playing your best game, but yet you can still find a way to win. Again, for about 56 minutes of that game, the Lions looked completely lost, disheveled, and out of it. But the last 4 minutes, it was just like all the things that we needed to go our way happened, and we were, like I said, able to pull a rabbit out of a hat and make a win with it. So for me, it's like, dude, that's something that a great team shows is like, listen, when you're down and out, you haven't deserved a win, but you find a way to win, that's a good mark of a good team. Number two, When you turn the ball over 4 times, 3 on offense, 1 on special teams, but you're still able to win, that shows the resiliency, the grittiness, and in my opinion, the maturity of a team to never quit, never get down on themselves, never hang their heads, never have that negative body language, and to turn out those plays that you need to get those wins. And again, that's definitely traits that top teams have. And then finally, I'm going to just say this right now. As a former football player, I never played pro, but I played in college, I played high school. I can tell you this right now. It is very, very easy to win when everything's going right. It's very easy to win when every play you call is getting the good amount of yardage, you're getting good execution, you're scoring plays, and everything's getting first downs or very short, manageable second downs. But when everything's going wrong, everything's failing, and you still find a way to win, that's truly special. That is truly special, and that's what separates the good teams from the great teams, and that's what definitely separates the good teams from the bad teams, is being able to make something happen, make something work, despite all adversity falling around you. So for me, I'm not happy about how the game was won, but I'm happy about what message it sends to the rest of the NFL. Like, listen, regardless if we're having a bad day at the office, you still cannot take us lightly. You still have to bring your A game because we will find a way to win no matter what. And that's the brand new Lions. That is the new era Lions right there. So, with it having been said, like I said, absolutely crazy, absolutely wild freaking game against the Chicago Bears. Probably, like I said, one of the weirdest games I've ever watched from our Detroit Lions. But it is what it is. A win is a win. Definitely not the way I wanted to win that game. I would have much preferred another 41-10 ass spanking of the Bears like last year, but c'est la vie. With that having been said, I just want to say thank you all for watching in another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage you all to do one of these 3 things. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you subscribed in the past and forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and you've not yet had a chance to do so, first and foremost, I want to highly encourage y'all, please make sure you subscribe because it helps out my channel, and I'm ever so grateful for every subscription that I get. But I also want to encourage y'all, please, make sure after you subscribe, you also push that bell notification icon as well, so that way you guys never miss any more content that I push out. Again, subscription numbers are always going to keep going up, but we want to make sure that you turn this bell notification icon on, so that way once I push out something new, you guys are always able to watch it, you always know when it comes out, and you never miss any content that I push out. And I also want to encourage y'all, please, to do this to also help encourage that. Share this content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube. Share it on Twitter. Share it on Facebook. Share it anywhere and everywhere. Share it anywhere and everywhere that you can with anybody and everybody that you can. And with that being said, folks, again, I just want to say thank you all for tuning into my show. Thank you all for your love, your support, your patronage. Thank you all for everything that you've done for me. And again, for those that I didn't have yet your subscription for, hopefully I did. And if not, hopefully I'll get it on the next time. But I just want to say to everybody, God bless. And until the next time we meet, I'll see y'all in the next episode.